Their agents will be jumping into this third and final map between Gen.G and Sentinels to see who's going to be moving on into that grand finals to play against another surprising performer in Cloud9.
Yeah, I've been very surprised with their amount of play, and in some cases I feel a little bad for some of the players on the team. You know, even earlier on, early iterations of the team were called Tens and Friends, and there's no doubt that he's the star performer on the team, but some credit is due to some of the other players like Mitch, like Vice, like Shinobi, some all-around rock-solid players that can keep Tens in check and give him the information that he needs and also give him the support he needs to really get rocking. So early start here, a look towards the C site, but it is Sentinels that now back away.
Early damage being dealt here by Sentinels big time. First they take those shots towards the B site onto the Cypher, and now they take down one over on A and send Guimon running back for cover behind the boxes on A. Damage dealt to the Brim as well, who was present with him. Guimon trying to play defense, has two targets straight in front of him, both named Suede. Both have Phantoms in the pistol round. What is happening? Suede is everywhere. It's obviously a bug. Just kidding.
GMD here, ready with a curveball, and it's ShahZaM! That tailwind forward, going to find him and take him down. It's a couple of refrags on the site, but it's full control here for the Sentinels. We'll get that spike down, and it's now up to Gen.G for the retake. MkaeL going to be trying to push in from behind, but they already spot that flank out. It's the Brimstone laying in wait, and down in sewers is another player. It does look like Dapr trying to peek his head through and provide a safety net of crossfire, but it's Effys on the other side. They're just looking for exits, and they're ready for them to come in.
Sitting on the back end of the play is the Cypher, MkaeL. You've got the Sage as well over towards spawn. Goes for a late peek, spots them as they try to make their retreat. Flicks off the mark for the pistol. Wants to try and just glue them in position and potentially watch them fall by way of the spike as they push further and further forward. One kill coming in there onto zombs, who's gone back to the Brim off of the Omen. And again, some turbo dunks coming out from Dapr as the pistol round concludes. Sinatraa will fall to the spike, but it's going to be Sentinels round to take.
So one of the things that I want to point out is that Huynh, we talked about his experimenting with the Jet, and we're seeing that here, I believe, as both teams have a Jet, and I can only assume the only Jet player on Gen.G is Huynh, and to be quite honest, he's usually holding the operator anyway, so it wouldn't be a surprise to me. But we'll see if he can put up numbers like some of the other Jet players in an A, but he's got a tall task for him. Sinatraa already in deep, ready for that spray down, going to find one. That Ares putting in work early on. Shock Dart as well. He's going to find GMD. Just the perfect use of utility in succession, and it's a flawless round here for the Sentinels.
That's almost a little embarrassing there. Gunned down through the wall by Sinatraa with the Ares. We've seen that before. And he actually goes back to the Shock Dart as well. We talked about it in the last map. More Shock Dart kills in this series than we've likely seen the entire tournament or in some other tournaments throughout their run. And a lot of those have actually been Sinatra's. So a good follow-up round coming in as all 5 players survive. A flawless victory there for Sentinels. We'll see what it is that Gen.G decides to do here. You've got Sick lining up that long-range orb. That'll slow down the push on long to prevent someone from playing aggro for the peak. Deep Cyber Cage coming in as well. Yes. But here we go. It's the Tens Judge Jet meta that we saw previously in Cloud9 series. We'll see if it's going to work out as well for Huynh.
I saw Van Silly tweet this out earlier on. I'm not sure if he's the one that dubbed it, but Judge Jetty seems to be the name of this play, and Huynh ready to bring down the law. Around the corner they go. It's the Shock Dart prediction from Sinatraa, looking to try to weed him out, and it's a great spray to take him out. It's the Shock Dart, I think, that finishes off the deal, and Judge Jetty is no longer in possession.
Budget Tens, I guess you could say. They come through the Shock Darts, and they manage to take that site control. Those Shock Darts open things up, then they use the Cyber Cages as well to get onto the site. It will be their site to control. Guimon's back behind the smoke, gonna go for the curveball to pop their way out. Curveball does lead them in, but it's now down to just him and one other. It's PL1 who's right on the other side of this wall. Start to push through. It's Sick that's waiting for them. But now everyone else is playing so far away, they're playing back on the play, understanding that they don't need to push because they've got that molly to fall back on. We've seen this time and time again, that deep molly strat, not needing to take those early fights. Some people even claiming the molly a little bit broke because you can't counter it. There's the Hunter's Fury coming out as well. The first pulse hit, the second pulse will push him back out of the site. It looked like the first pulse may have caught his teammate. Gimon's going to be running away with 25 HP.
That was a great execution from the side of the Sentinels. They had the molly ready, and to follow up, they had Sinatraa with the ultimate, and we heard in an interview on Valoranting with Valiate to say, you lose the pistol, okay, understandably so. You lose the SMG, okay, that makes sense. You don't really have the economic advantage. But you lose the third round, that is where things really start to hurt, and you start to bleed rounds left and right, and Sentinels now off the back of this round can expect more success considering Gen.G will not have the weaponry to follow suit. It's only GMD, he was able to save that Phantom, but the rest of the team, they're on pistols. And so for this side of Sentinels, they can keep up their aggression knowing that on the other side is just a couple of pistols.
That's such a tough round if you're Gen.G. Once that molly goes down, I mean, that round's pretty much over with the timing on that molly plus the Hunter's Fury coming out. There's just nothing you can do about it. It's well played coming in from Sentinels, and we've seen that from them before. Effys getting aggressive over on long. You've got his teammate right behind him. Gimon can't even let that Phantom unload as his teammate falls almost instantly. There's another player back on that C site trying to play defense. It's PL1. Goes into the smoke as the slow orb comes down. The round is lost here for the defense of Gen.G. Spike's going to be planted. It'll be a 2-on-5 should they even decide to go for the retake, but realistically speaking, they'll be setting up for exits.
Yeah, you know, we touched on it earlier on in the round. Not going to be one that Gen.G really have the weaponry to play. Just in a couple of safety positions. Of course, it's Huynh who's actually just trying to save the ghost, whereas MkaeL looking for a couple of those exits. Dapr may find himself in the hands of Judge Jetty. MkaeL already ready to fall, and Huynh around the corner. Dapr going to be the one that wins the case as the plaintiff. And now another round on the board here for the Sentinels. But this is where Gen.G have the weaponry to play. Operator on Huynh while the rest of the team rocking those assault rifles. We'll see how this round unfolds now that they have rifles once again.
Yeah, ShahZaM still bonusing, though, with that SMG. So sitting on 8k, rocking a Spectre, not going to be matching the output necessarily from that op. But again, he's playing as the Jet, and something we saw from other players in this tournament. Obviously, people were looking at 10s, but Rob Wiz did it as well, playing super aggressive with the Jet, getting up close and personal with SMGs and shotguns. Rob Wiz did it with a Stinger on numerous occasions for Code 7 in that opening series that saw them with a bit of an upset win. So we'll see if he's going to do the same thing here on the attack. You can see Sinatraa again going low with that Al drone, getting the intel that there's a player close and knows that shots came from inside as well, so they know there's one here back behind the default boxes supporting MkaeL on the site. And up, see you later. Not much can be done about that one. There is no escaping it. Sprayed through the smoke as the orbital strike connects. Good team play coming out from Sentinels yet again.
Yeah, player one just trying to use that orbital strike to maybe dissuade them from pushing forward, and Sentinels will get the message loud and clear, pulling off the site already. It is Dapr just looking for any of those re-peeks back towards their general direction, but no one peeks the corner, and now they'll start to funnel in towards B. Unfortunate timing, though, for GMD, as now that he hears the utility being used, he probably could have been in a position to maybe stop that. It's the hot hands, but it's right off the money. Stick will be able to survive, and the shot's now trying to swing around the corner. Heals himself back up to full, but he gets a face full of lead from Huynh. It is now up to Gen.G to re-push onto the site. But it's Sentinels who have already started to rotate over, and I like this call. Usually they play in the courtyard, or rather, anyone defending this spike will play in the courtyard. It's zombs. They don't know that he's defusing. It's the spray that's good. All down to Effys, and the jump shots from zombs. This Dapr steals his kill, and it's another round off of Gen.G's force-up, and they get another round on the board. Very, very crucial round to lose.
I mean, honestly, right now, this feels like a group stage match. This does not feel like a semi-final currently. Gen.G very slow to start on Haven, not really putting up much of a defense. in their pistol round, it obviously kind of shapes the way you want to see those first couple rounds go, but then the buys start coming in, and they're just completely getting blown out. It's not even close right now. Sentinels is stomping all over them. Effys goes for the jiggle over towards C long, gets spotted by the operator. Lucky to survive. ShahZaM just can't get that timing right to shoot that elbow and send him to the wayside. So Sinatraa, which gun's he gonna have? You already know, it's the gun that goes brr. It's the Omen. There's one to his left, but he's spamming towards the window just in case. Right now, it does look like we'll probably see them move back towards this C site eventually. The spike is kind of leaning in that direction. But the defense is as well. You've got the Phoenix pushed up in garage. You've got Sage supporting. You've got Jet on site.
And Huynh actually just looking for any of those recon bolts that come soaring through. But it's Sinatraa who's on the other side. ShahZaM will be able to get the refrag quite quickly. Sinatraa just still trying to spray and pray. So far, his prayers have not been answered. Dapr going to find one. He's still going to commit to the spray. It'll be good onto Gen.G. But there's one more in the garage. And he's going to pull that AMG on out and take out player one. Just down to MkaeL, though. It's got a Spectre, so definitely not just a pistol. Some weaponry to play with, but he's up against 4. And that spike is down. He's still going to try to push through. He gets spotted out early by Dapr, but some of those shots through the wood will connect as he's just down to 89 HP. Switching to another look around the box. On the other side is a face full of Odin. Gets 2 with the transfer, and now trying to reposition. Maybe he wants to pick up the Odin to have a little bit of spray and pray of his own. But Zombs on the other side of the box does not check the corner. MkaeL, though, has a great round. And it's all up to ShahZaM. ShahZaM making sure that he doesn't push in and defuse that spike as it is ticking down. Those pre-fire shots from MkaeL. The spike sticking. ShahZaM's playing ring around the Rosie. Looking for another opportunity. The headshot's good, but MkaeL, does he have enough time? Only enough time to pick up the op, but nods his head left and right. While a round still for the Sentinels, it's expensive on the back of the hero play from MkaeL.
Yeah, they cost themselves a bit of money. You know, they lost the Odin. That was in the hands of Sinatraa. They lost the operator. They lost the rifles. All for kills that really didn't mean anything. Anyway, I mean, he was going to come into this next round with a bye regardless. So, an interesting set of circumstances. You can see the rest of the team going heavy on the bye. You've got the operator there for Huynh. You've got the rest on Phantoms. ShahZaM finally will go ahead and equip that operator as well. In that last round, he has it here. Early on, he stayed on the Spectre, favoring the gun that he brought in from the early rounds. Double shock dart on long. You just hate to see it. So Huynh, we talked about it. Not exactly a player that's going to go aggro with that operator play. Tries to get aggressive here and gets punished as Sinatraa just delivers yet another shock dart kill.
I know exactly.
ShahZaM trying to look down towards the sewers. So far, 1 down for Gen.G, and it's maybe one of the more important players on Huynh. GMD still the IGL, still alive, and keeping things alive here for Gen.G. Haven't put a round on the board yet, but might be another round for the Sentinels as GMD tries to push in through the sewers. Player 1 cannot defend the push in towards A, and now it's just down to MkaeL and Effys, and looks like they're collecting their things and they're packing it home.
This is not the Gen.G that we fell in love with in the early stages of the game. The Gen.G that was able to win a couple of events early on. Gen.G just look completely out of sorts. They are struggling on a map that they have a pretty good success rate on. And a large part of that is they are just getting completely outplayed on an individual level. You saw it there. He tries to go on long, take an early fight with the operator, and it's so well read by Sinatraa that it just gets punished before he even gets to fire a shot. And because of the fact that he typically does not play the Jet, usually it's Huynh on the Sova, he doesn't instinctively dash away after that first shock dart. He just sticks around. The second dart comes in, and he's taken out of the equation. So it's right now just feeling like they're not necessarily prepared for what's coming towards them. This time, though, Effys hears the footsteps, lays down the wall to try to keep them at bay for the time being. There's one kill coming in for Effys as they push closer. Yeah, that's kind of how you expect things to go. So the rifles will not be brought into the next round, but it looks like they're going to force anyway, and you can't blame them. They're down 7-0.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when it comes to the forcing, not really everyone has the credits to afford that. On the opposite side, Sentinels are rolling in the dough. Biggest spender, of course, being Sinatraa, who is dropped down from 6,200 because of the Odin to, I think that was, what, 3,700. Maybe he bought some utility as well, but Like you said, it's 7 straight here for Sentinels, and they have no intention of stopping anytime soon. But Gen.G have a different look this time around. They're looking for a push towards the middle. Sinatraa is on the other side, trying to spray him through. Sick has Sinatra's back, taking out the 2 players, pushing it through the middle. Shock darts here from Sinatraa, looking to make things very difficult on the other side. But Effys, I think he only eats 1. Now trying to swing the corner. The shot's good onto Sinatraa. Effys finds 2. And so far, a slightly expensive round here for the Sentinels, but see how they end up doing now. It's ShahZaM with 1 that's looking for the last remaining player, or sorry, the second last remaining player, MkaeL with the Bulldog, and it's just down to the 1v2.
I mean, we've seen some hero play from MkaeL before, but it was in a round that they weren't able to actually pick up a win. They just shed some blood on that C site. Spike's going to be planted here. ShahZaM goes for that peek for intel, spots out MkaeL, and now it's going to be a 2-player long hold. Pretty much an unwinnable situation unless Sentinels really screws up their positioning. So at this point, MkaeL is going to try and get onto the site, but they're just going to hunker down and wait for the push to come through, wait for the tap on that spike.
Yeah, or that.
Yeah.
Or that.
There's nothing you can do. That is just incredibly unwinnable. The only way you can win that is if Sentinels makes a massive mistake, which based on the scoreline thus far, they are not making massive mistakes. In fact, it's the other side around that's making mistakes. Like, look at Huynh, currently 0-7, not exactly the performance we expect to see from him. Huynh, 2-8. No one is performing well right now. They are just getting absolutely stomped by Sentinels. I mean, this has a making of a 13-0 potentially, unless we see some trolly stuff come in from Sentinels and they manage to botch a round or 2.
Well, the last time that these 2 teams met, it was Gen.G who were on attack to start us off, and they struggled. Sentinels had a great defense. It was only until Gen.G were defending that they had a little bit of success, but this time they are defending, and their success is not looking so hot. And so far, 0 rounds they have won. And on the back of some great play of the Sentinels, you cannot discredit how well they have played on this map. Gen.G anticipating an A push. Huynh actually gets a frag onto Dapr, which might open things up for them, as Sentinels have to be a little bit careful knowing that there's an op in play, specifically up towards Heaven. Sinatraa is still committed to the push, tries to push through the tripwire, but it's another shot from MkaeL, and it's starting to fall apart for the Sentinels. ShahZaM up on the box and banana, but the smokes are going to cover his angle.
ShahZaM looking for this line over top of the box, waiting for the jump peek to come through. It is there, but not peeking wide enough currently. And ShahZaM wants to take that shot so bad, but just couldn't quite time it. And now the call comes out that he's present and waiting for it. So you can see the Cypher change positions. There's the ult coming in from ShahZaM, produces no success on the site. We're down to now 2 and make it only 1. It's Sinatraa through the smoke getting sprayed already. The first successful round here for Gen.G, but it took them oh so long to actually find it. It's 8-1. Even if they win out, it's an abysmal first half on Haven.
You are seeing now the adaptation from Gen.G. They're able to afford these operators, or at least put another one into play. Of course, Huynh was able to hold on to his. And another operator in play means that they can play a lot more angles with longer sight lines. Huynh ready towards the garage, but it's player 1 that is looking to peak with GMD, looking like the curveball will be the ticket for them. But Sentinels, they don't really play towards that window. They play garage. They play Sinatraa with the Odin, and unfortunately, it's Huynh that cannot stop that push forward. It's a shot from ShahZaM. Effys will find the refrag onto Sinatraa, and that cheeky little strat is no longer available.
Kill my allies.
Well, they're going to be running on over towards the C site. Effys takes a lot of damage in the early fight. The operators here had a chance for a collateral, just couldn't pull the trigger in time. 2 targets waiting right around the corner. The flash to lead him in, though, and it's Gimon who comes out on top. It'll be a 3-player survival in their second round now in a row on the scoreboard. Again, the money, there was a lot of it for Sentinels, so they can dig deep into their pockets and field the buy. But at this point, their money moving into what would be the final round, should they lose this one, will be bad. So maybe we will see that 8-4 half after all. Potentially, it starts with a round win here. But even still, this is a 55-45 map that favors usually the defense. So this is not exactly what you want to see coming in from the likes of Gen.G.
ShahZaM ready with his team to push again. A once again. MkaeL waiting on the other side. A little bit more of a standard fan out. And GMD already looking for information as he pushes down long. This might give them the intel that, okay, if they're not towards C, they're either playing towards B. There's a smoke there, so they might be trying to push forward. But so far, there's no wall there. So where else could they be other than pushing towards A? GMD has a lot of information, but spots a tripwire early, which means, okay, if they're trying to cover their tracks, they're definitely pushing towards A. And so now you're seeing the rest of the team start to rotate over. Sentinels, in these types of situations, you are wasting too much time. They can't push in. The utility's already been used and has been spent. So they'll start to pull off. But GMD, he may be a hero that Gen.G need, waiting for someone to peek through, but it's B that Sentinels are looking for.
Right now, there's only one currently over towards B as well. So they move into that site and they go ahead and secure the plant. The Brimble not going to be there in time to deny it. Molly comes in a little bit late as well. Six getting tagged on his way out, so takes a little bit of damage. Has to use that heal early on. Guimont is still here, waiting on the C side to push through. He's waiting to go past this tripwire. Potentially, it's waiting right in front of him. You can see there's some kind of utility down there from the Cypher. They're all currently sitting back in mid. He's waiting on his team to make an access towards the site. So him and MkaeL actually take out both tripwires on the flank. It's not communicated as well at all. ShahZaM is in the window, gets the trade out at least. There's the curveball coming in from Guimont. Able to take down two. ShahZam's still in the window, trying to do damage. It's Guimont, though, coming out big. The spike being defused as Huynh picks him off in the end. A third round coming in for Gen.G off a masterfully timed retake by both MkaeL and Guimont, both coming in from A and C respectively.
That was just the most telegraphed. Like, you couldn't have painted a perfect picture for Gen.G. You had MkaeL and GMD on the opposing ends of two tripwires, destroy them together and push together at the same time. That is the same level of communication that we've seen from Sentinels, and Gen.G give them a taste of their own medicine. A beautiful retake, timed from pretty much the entire team. That as they were defusing the spike, the entire team was so focused on the Gen.G members that were on the B side, and they started to get a little chaotic as there was two members coming in from behind. And now, as we enter into the last and final round, it does not look like Sentinels have the economy for the weapons.
We talked about it. They weren't going to have much money. The problem is they do have the jet ult. So ShahZaM is going to lead the charge. In go the knives. The knives don't produce much success. Sick is there at least for a trade, and it goes back and forth in a volley. That results in Gen.G losing site control, but they do have the Brimble, the ability to stop the plant. They just pop it, and as a result, the spike has to move out of position. So the spike will be delayed on the plant. There's the cross shot coming in. Huynh can't quite time it right. So the ult's going to get popped here by the jet. Over the top they go, but there's too many targets all around. Still, though, the spike's been delayed, but it comes down to one. It's the Cypher, and in the one-on-one, after instantly taking down zombs, dies to Dapr. 9-3, your halftime score.
Could have gone a lot worse, could have gone a lot better, but at this point, there's not much you can do other than play the pistol and hope that you come out on top if you are Gen.G. They are, of course, now on attack, but the side of the Sentinels, they had a pretty good defensive side against Gen.G, and in fact, they started off on defense previously. It was Gen.G trying to scrape rounds together on their own defensive side, and they did not really have great success there. 13-7 was the previous scoreline. Looking a lot more grim now. So Gen.G have a lot of catching up to do if they want to win this best of three. And really, for both these teams, still trying to assert their dominance as some of the top teams in NA. Currently, of course, T1 and TSM really sharing the throne there. Gen.G and Sentinels just trying to fight for that climb up the ladder. Again,
the scoreboard does get bugged moving into the second half. Occasionally, it doesn't really seem to have a rhyme or reason, so unfortunately we only see two players. They're going to be pushing out onto the site. Guimont actually finds both of those kills on the entry. Sick and Dapr sent to the sidelines. You've got MkaeL watching the flank. Here's the footsteps of the players coming out the window. Flying by is going to be Sinatraa, but the B-Hops can't save him. ShahZaM is there for the quick trade. ShahZaM peeking close corner. Doesn't make a difference. Guimont is feeling it now. He's come alive after a very slow start. Was sitting at 0-7 one point. Now slowly charging towards the top of the scoreboard. Zombs, the last one remaining right around the corner. Is Guimont going to get the 4K? Zombs gets the accidental jumping kill to Guimont's toe. but it's a kill regardless.
Yeah, now down to just 3 members remaining for the Sentinels. ZAM's going to try to push in regardless. Maybe take some members down with him, of course. He wants those extra credits, but Huynh will just take him out. Pick up the Ghost as well. Send a couple of shots beyond the grave, but a good start here for Gen.G, and if they want to start to climb things back around, this is how you do it. But for the side of the Sentinels, when they're down and out on ecos, they get quite creative with what they are capable of doing. So expect a little bit more cheeky play out of them as you see 4 stacked towards that C site. Not really the correct read as Gen.G are set up towards A, but they'll face Dapr, who's going to be waiting on the other side.
Smoke's down.
9-4. Gen.G, maybe they can build up some momentum here. Maybe they can turn things around. That first half did not go so well, but they did start to wake up a little bit, and it was really off the back of good play coming in from Guimond, who really turned things around. I mean, to an extent that you can't even mathematically calculate the impact, because he went from 0 to like 9 kills in that first half, or whatever it is he finished with. Couldn't tell you because the scoreboard currently doesn't work. Right now, it is actually Guimond who's moving over towards A, and the rest of the team is there. If you look at the setup, it's a full C stack coming in from Sentinels. An understandable play given that they're coming in with less than stellar hardware. They're going to have shotguns and potentially a pistol upgrade or 2. Those shorties, not the Bucky, not the Judge that we got to see profiled pretty heavily yesterday on this map by TenZ. So MkaeL is going to send out the Cyber Cage, and they're going to lock down control of this A site. The spike's going to be planted at this point. What do you do if you're Sentinels? Where do you go, and how do you try to set up for some exits?
Yeah, I mean, the read was hoping that C was going to be the money. They set up so many crossfires for the trades, but now they just have to find their way over towards that A site and hope that someone is there to accept their pain. You're seeing a little bit more of a spread out. Sinatraa going to try to lead the charge towards this site, but MkaeL knows that on the other side there are going to be potentially 2 members waiting for him. Of course, Effys tries to peek carefully with the camera placement. Effys will take out zombs. And now MkaeL just trying to peek around the corner towards the garden. And on the other side is Sick with the shorty. They're just trying to escape the spike, but there are lots of members chasing them. They'll all get shredded by the spike, and now Sick, we will also face the same wrath from Effys. A flawless round from the defense, and now another round on the board for Gen.G, and it's 5-9 scoreline.
I mean, that's a top tier moment. I don't know what that was. Keck W's in the chat for that one. They're trying to come through from the A site with the backstab, and they all die to the spike. Here's the heavy investment coming in from Huynh. The operator picked up. We'll see if he's able to take down his opposition. It looks like you've got potentially one playing up in the window. Nope, they've jumped down. It was the Sage. Does he get this shot? Yes. Sick turns around and tries to run back. Can't quite move out of the sights in time. So that's the Sage down early, which is actually huge. Now, what's interesting is they did have a Sage wall over on B for the box boost, but it doesn't produce the success that you would expect. Instead, you're going to see some aggression coming in from ShahZaM. He's pushed down on long C and taken out by PL1 as well, who was holding that line back in spawn. So a great start yet again here for Gen.G on the attack. Definitely looking a lot better than they did early on the defense.
Yeah, already 2 down on the opposite side, and for the side of the Sentinels, they're struggling to really have a foothold on this defensive side. Gen.G, of course, want to win round after round, really start to catch up in terms of the round differential that currently exists. 4 rounds between these 2 teams, and Gen.G is clawing their way back in. An important round, quite honestly, for the defense to come alive, considering it is their full buy. The recon bolt from Sinatraa trying to scout out early who's on the other side. Shot, don't think it's good, as Effys will take out Dapr. The shock bolt, not exactly enough to finish and seal the deal onto Huynh. And just trying to get something going as he hopes for the defuse to come through. But that's 3 rounds straight here for Gen.G, and they are feeling a lot better on this attacker side.
This would be quite an impressive comeback, considering what they were staring at one point in time. But starting to build up that confidence, something that I remember from Guimond when he was playing CS. He was a very positive player in that he likes to have fun and goof off and tell jokes. That's kind of his personality. And I feel like he thrives in that kind of environment. when you're down 7-0, it's almost impossible to have that kind of environment. So once they started to turn things around and they started to believe and they started to have some of these big rounds, he can start to feel confident again and start making some of the plays that we've seen him make in the past. And that's why we've seen that turnaround from him. And it's incredibly crucial right now that it continues for Gen.G. If they want to bring this one back, they're going to be leaning on him pretty heavily. Again, over towards the A site right now, they seem to be posturing. You've got Cypher floating between A and C currently in spawn. The only one playing defense here is the Jet with a shorty right around the corner from a tripwire. But at this point, they decide to back off. They're going to be grouping up back in spawn and moving in another direction.
One's got the operator pointed towards pretty close angles on the C site. Sinatraa doing what he does best, which is just this jiggle peek where he tries to gather information. Hopefully just takes a shot to the shoulder and survives, but odds are that doesn't always happen in that case, especially with Huynh with an operator. You may be in for more pain than you bargained for. Huynh now going to start to lead that charge. Pistols out as well. The slow orb going to make it very difficult. A flying Jet will be taken out quite quickly, but GMD on the site with the Phantom. And somehow the crossfire setup is great from the defense. They're just taking it out, but unfortunately, when there's better guns on the table, it can be very difficult. Dapr, though, with an operator, takes out one. Gives it a peek around the corner. From the second, the shot's not good. And it's MkaeL going to clean that one up. A great attempt from the defense. It was an eco for them, and so only 2 remain means that the credits are going to start to falter for the attack.
Round by round, they bring it back. They slowly claw their way back into this game. Dapr laying down those tripwires and cyber cages over on the A site. Again, playing with the Jet in ShahZaM. Not sure if ShahZaM has the op. Very likely, given this aggressive play coming out. Sick as well, going to send down a slow orb on long. There's Dapr spamming through that cyber cage. Nice curveball coming in to push that player away. That was ShahZaM who was there with the operator. Also can't help as the molly lands. This is a great setup coming in from Gen.G. An absolutely terrific way to open things up with a kill. ShahZaM can do nothing to help Dapr.
GMD now leading the charge from the other angle as they give up the push down banana. Huynh going to revive that opportunity, but ShahZaM, he's playing close with the op, and it's going to be very painful when he finds out that there are a couple on the other side. It's run it back, but he gets rid of the clone. Still alive somehow, but he gets taken up by MkaeL. The rest of his team starts to fall around, but Sinatraa lets the lawnmower rip and takes out 3.
How is this a thing? Sinatraa with the Odin narrowly wins the round there. Got it real close, brought it down to a 2-on-1 from what felt like it should have been an absolute breeze for Gen.G. He just unloads with the Odin. How does that work so well? The gun go burr. That's the only answer. The gun go burr. So Sinatraa doing what Sinatraa does best with the Odin, unfortunately not able to win that 1v2, looking for that 1v5 ace. But I gotta applaud Gen.G on that initial push on long. Curveball through the cyber cage, pushes ShahZaM back with the operator. Then the slow orb comes in. Then the molly. At this point, Dapr is alone. He can't do anything. And then on the retreat, they throw a cyber cage down again, just so he can't push through it and go for the repeat. Absolutely brilliant play coming out from Gen.G. I like this move, though. Sinatraa getting aggressive in mid. Unfortunately, it's not with the greatest gun, so it doesn't produce the success you'd hope to see, given that he had the likes of Effys kind of caught off guard by it. But now you've got 2 players pushed up in mid. This is a decent setup coming in for them.
Yeah, owl drone from Sinatraa, Trish trying to peek through. We'll see on the other side. And Gen.G, they have to be playing a little bit more careful here, as they know that the wild card Sentinels are out to play. They don't want to step into something that they are not prepared for. And that's where you're seeing they haven't really pushed out quite yet. Sinatraa playing close beneath the window in the courtyard. And it's the flash around the corner that'll be his demise, but still taking quite some damage over towards GMD. Now they'll still back away, still waiting for some sort of pick. They find one onto Sick there, just trying to make his way back through the garage window. Now give them all that they need to push in towards C.
Here they go onto the C site. Dapr was over towards window. You've got the Jet in garage going inside the smoke. Surprised there's a wall down. Can't do much about that. Goes to the peak. Actually, nice damage coming out from Dapr. It's Huynh who misses that shot with the operator. PL1 able to take down his teammate right by his side, so zombs will be watching currently from the sidelines for the remainder. The wall has been broken over on short as well. ShahZaM just trying to do some additional damage as the Phantom gets a little bit low on the mag. Finally, support comes in, and there you go. They'll be able to close the round out. Losing only one, and they lost the operator, but they're able to scoop it back up.
So now we're tied up 9-9. Gen.G somehow, some way have won 6 straight on the attacker side, and really tells me that they picked defense first for a reason, comfortably knowing they would catch up once we swapped halves. And it's the last time that they met on this map, it was Sentinels that had an 8-4 half, and Gen.G was on attack. And so they've really come into their own, and I've developed some new looks and some new strategies towards playing this Haven side. And yes, maybe it's not on the back of great jet play from Huynh or some specific member. I think it's just GMD calling the shots and making sure that his team is in check and really finding these great pushes and executes towards sites.
This time you've got Dapr on the operator over on long, so a bit of a switch up here with the jet now opping over on the C site. They go for an early Sage wall to deny access over on C. The B site has 2 players playing defense as well, with a quick rotate potentially coming in from the brim. This A site is incredibly weak right now with just the Cypher there, but they're going to be going over towards B. Sinatraa is going to go ahead and send that recon dart out over the top. Actually lands on the door, so not going to give them any sight towards mid, only going to give them sight if they push in towards the site. The wall gets broken, Brim ult being popped. Cypher's making the call right now that the A site could potentially be clear, so MkaeL has actually made it to the back lines, might actually catch the Sage off guard. No! Sick! Somehow able to beat him out in that fight. How does that even happen? Right around the corner, you've got Dapr as well. The neural theft being popped eventually does go down. The Brim ult giving them some time there on the site. PL1 wants to go for the molly, but it's Sick up in heaven who's doing all the damage. The spray not connecting, but he's somehow still alive. It comes down to PL1 on the site with only 16 HP. Finally, Sentinels win around here in this second half.
It took a long time, but Sentinels have had the opportunity to put another round on the board for themselves, and they had a pretty convincing lead at the start of this half. It was 9-3 the scoreline, and Gen.G have spent a lot of time catching up if you are just tuning in. This is, of course, the semifinal, the last semifinal match of the Pulse Invitational, and it's Gen.G up against Sentinels. Cloud9 await the winner of this match on the other side, and I'm sure Tens and his team are ready and itching to play. Set up here from Sentinels to start. It's the 3-1-1 across all sites, and it's Gen.G having a look towards A and the garage.
Again, you've got this solo A-hold, the anchor coming in from the Cypher, and it worked out really well for them last time. Early on, they had support from ShahZaM there, but Dapr doesn't seem to need it. All he needs is that quick rotate from Sick, who likely should have died. Sick was in position, caught off guard, jumping it back into sight, switches his gun, and somehow wins that battle with MkaeL, who is moving in. There's the counter wall coming out from Sick, flashes out on the site. Sick is here, potentially up on top of the box. They likely heard that wall boost. Spraying away. Is Sick surviving? Yes, he does, but only in time for one. He'll get traded out by Kimon, who's found two. The ult popped here by ShahZaM. He moves in closer and closer. The knives don't produce as much success as you might hope. It's down to a 2-on-2. The positioning is oh so peculiar. Zombs is on the flank with a Bulldog. You've got the Brim with the Spike sitting back towards Garage currently. It's a bit of a standoff. If he decides to move through that door, does he time it well enough to not get caught off guard by PL1? Now the ult gets popped, so now the peek might come through from the Brim. But how do they react? Do they decide, okay, time to go over towards this C site? That's the right play coming in from Gen.G.
Yeah, and you're seeing Zombs already start to rotate back over. Dapr, though, playing a little bit more closer to his hand, looking towards that B side, knowing that Spike is obviously going to be going down, but correct call to switch over towards the Phantom. Needs to realize that he needs to reload the clip if he wants to do some damage. Only down to 16 shells in the mag, and Zombs waiting for his push in through the garage, but on the opposite side, it's player one. He's not really up to his full strength. He doesn't have full HP, but has the ability to land the shots. Headshot onto Dapr, sends him down into a dirt nap, still down to the 1v2 Zombs. It's got a lot of utility, looking to send some smokes down early, and it's really only going to be on the Spike itself Venn diagram for himself, starts to defuse, sees that they're going to start to swing, and they line up, but not enough. Only gets one. MkaeL now on the retreat, going to pick up that operator. And it's 10-10. Back tied up.
That peak, that double peak made me a little nervous. That lineup for a second had me concerned. Gen.G, they survived the close round, forced things back to a tie score, 10-10. This game went from being a plate of hot garbage to a close and contested affair. Gen.G have clawed their way back on the attacking side after an absolutely abysmal defense. And they looked oh so good up until the last few rounds where we've seen a fight back from Sentinels. Again, we're going to see that cyber cage over on long to try and get some control. Huynh walks out into the slow orb, not afraid of what could be waiting for him on the other side because the buy coming in from the defensive side isn't all that fantastic. Sick, you can see, is on a stinger. We've got zombs with a frenzy. Dapr on just a ghost. This round should be a softball round, and we should see Gen.G crush it out of the park.
We have seen how expensive Sentinels can make it for the opposition time and time again. They'll be on the eco and end up with 2, maybe with 3. And that means that the economy still gets dwindled down for the opposition. And with potentially 4 rounds that remain in this match, it is crucial for them to at least do that. And so on the other side, zombs is going to be waiting with the frenzy. He's going to be pinched in, though. Wall going to be separating him and the opposition, but it's still MkaeL on the other side, waiting for someone to push into the garage. It's the rest of the team that have actually opted in to go down towards the alleyway. It's the recon bolt that spots that Huynh, but he hops out of the way. Shot's not going to be good. Sinatraa with the jump classic, going to find what he needs. MkaeL and G though on cleanup duty. Sick though. He's going to find some frags of his own. Resurrection as well. Orbital strike makes it very difficult. It's quite chaotic here on the site, but it's MkaeL with the long con flank. Just down to ShahZaM. He's got an operator in hand, and we've seen him make it sing before. Looking for those last 2 pesky players. Smokes go down. Knows that there's one player playing close, but still needs to play it safe. The spike is ticking down. Looks like he's just going to save that operator and now try to escape, but they're looking to hunt him down. That's going to be player 1 that is looking for the jump. Misses the shot. Oh, it's a duel! And player 1 comes out on top. ShahZaM trying to escape with the operator. Player 1 says, not today, Chief.
Oh man, what a chaotic round on the C site. Thought for a second we were actually going to see the retake work out there for Sentinels. Got a little bit scary, and then it calmed down after player 1 pops the orbital strike and also takes down one more. I mean, it was looking a little bit scary there, even finished things off by taking the op out of the hands of ShahZaM. But you can see they've still got an op in play. Dapr is going to be carrying that op again over towards the A site. Wants to go for that aggro peek on long, try and spot somebody out early. Hunter's Fury being popped right off the bat. Sinatra's actually going to get one ping, tries to find a follow-up. It's not going to be there. So that will be the Phoenix, who survives a little while longer. Guimon does have his ult, but doesn't decide to pop it. Instead gets taken down by Dapr, who's waiting on long with that operator. There's the res coming in from Effys, so we're back to a 5-on-5.
So it's Gen.G, of course, with the round lead, and they're looking to try to make it match point here. GMD going to be leading that charge. We've seen his calls before, and looks like he's preparing for another one. Owl Drone going to be sent down to try to scatter it out, but they need to know that this is going to be a heavy push. The wall there to make it very difficult and try to stop them forward, but it's GMD that still ends up with the frag, even with Dapr from heaven sending those operator shots through, but it won't find anyone. And it's down to the 4v5. Sick getting into a new position as the rest of Gen.G. They fall back, now look towards potentially a new site while 2 members still remain, looking for information on this A site.
They're slowing down to recommit. They backed up to look for a possible flank, knowing that if they took their time, they'd likely rotate resources out of this A site, and that's exactly what Sentinels does. Do they anticipate this close play coming in from Sick, though? He's right around the corner as the Sage impact is down. They turn and they get both! The site's been lost, and at this point, it's looking dangerous to even try the retake. It's a 2-on-4. Wall goes down from the Sage. Zom's gonna spray through it anyway. I'm not sure what the buy is gonna look like in the round that follows for Sentinels, but they don't seem to care. They want to go for this one. Molly coming out from Zombs to try and get closer on the site. You've got ShahZaM, who's here up in heaven with that operator. Stimpack coming out from Zombs as well as he wants to get close. Head peek there from ShahZaM, dropped by Huynh. It's looking like we might see a 12th round secured by Gen.G as it all falls down onto Zombs. And he's just holding this exit frag angle, not going to produce any success. 12 rounds, the comeback comes through. One more to take things and close it out 2-1.
Pull up the calendar. It is comeback season here for Gen.G. They are looking stronger than I feel like we've seen them before after a very tight and close buy-in map, and then Ascent definitely did not go their way. This is very, very close. Sentinels just trying to keep it competitive, keep it alive, but if we only knew what the scoreboard could tell us when it comes to the economy, Sentinels, they're set up for the round ahead. Bulldog for ShahZaM. Looks like the force-up of the Sentry. They are playing super close towards A. They're tired of having Gen.G push them around. The peak is not good from Dapr. GMD takes him out, and it's just down to the 4v5. ShahZaM gets involved. MkaeL, GMD. It's all falling apart here for the Sentinels as Gen.G look to close things out.
I can't believe this actually happened after one of the worst first halves we've seen from Gen.G since the team's existence. Gen.G manages to somehow turn this around. It's on Sick in a 1v5. It's pretty much over at this point. This is unbelievable. They were down, 8-0 at one point, and they managed to actually make this a 13-10 potentially, unless Sick can somehow work a miracle here with just the Stinger. Long-range shot comes through from the SMG, forced out of position, goes for the heal. But the spike's been planted. Now the time is also working against him. Targets all around, surrounding his position. Guimon gets the third. It will be the massive comeback coming in from Gen.G to close things out 2-1 over Sentinels.
Listen, if you were a betting man, especially off of the maps that we saw yesterday, you would automatically say, okay, Sentinels, they're on this hot streak. They're really feeling themselves. And despite this loss, I still think that they are a contender for top 5. But Gen.G, they send them packing, and they send a message loud and clear. They are not to be trifled with. Great scoreline from them, 13-10. Bring it after a huge round deficit.